Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there is life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? If you have, you were on the fringe.
Welcome to another episode of What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. I'm Mark.
I'm Pam.
I'm Jess.
I'm Enzo.
The wonderful Enzo Cyril.
Yay!
So
We did it.
we did it. We made it without falling on our faces. Which I mean, I still have time. I still have time.
We're only just getting started.
We are only just getting started. Speaking of which, something that I'm really bad at is playing ads from our affiliates. So one moment, we'll get that out of the way. Hey, this is Mark with What If Tomorrow and What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. Be sure to check out our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com, and look at our cool merch. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more. Our affiliates are Duke Cannon, EMP Shield, My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. Or check out buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow and buy us a coffee. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and share on both Facebook and YouTube. It helps get our content out to others and help our channel grow. Now on with the show. Yay! At some point here in the next month or two, I am hoping to have new intros, outros, and new ads ready, because I'm sure everybody's getting tired of all the old stuff.
I'm really tired of being like all crooked. I'm like all over here in my picture.
Well,
Like
maybe we'll just get together and do a photo shoot for the, we'll
Yeah,
do a
I'm
photo
like
shoot
getting
for
ready to
the.
fall over.
Yeah. I get it.
It's funny.
All right. So I see that Ian's on. And Enzo's here. Enzo's here too. Enzo's everywhere.
Wow.
All right. And Pammy 4111111.
I hate that YouTube is sticking with that the at name thing instead of whatever you want your name to be.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about what tonight's show is. Of course, you've seen the stuff I had up. Maps of a lost coastline. So we've discussed this on the show before, and we'll probably discuss it several more times because it's totally fascinating. About 13,000 years ago-ish, during the glacial maximum, there was a lot more land than there is today. The global sea level was roughly 120 meters lower than it is today, exposing huge continental shelves that are now underwater. Those shelves were not blank space. In many regions, they carried rivers, plains, wetlands, forests, migration corridors, and in some cases, and it looks like to me probably most cases, human populations. That makes the basic premise of a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight fairly plausible. In fact, I've got pictures of some artifacts that's come from some of these areas. And somehow I've put my camera on tracking mode again. Some hand gesture I've done. It's probably my weird faces just totally confused the camera. So we're going to talk with
control.
Yeah, there you go. I'd rather just use my remote control because it's really easy to use. I'm used to be really good with technology, and it seems like the older I get, the faster it moves and the harder it is for me to keep up. I'm old. I remember the days when we had dial up, and that was the only way to go.
Wow.
Sorry.
In said Enzo's bar's much quieter tonight, Jess. Yeah, last week was spring break here in
Yeah.
the States. And if you're in a coastal, town, it's jiving. So it is much calmer. I'm sure all of those kids that we were watching last week on Enzo's feed are now home with horrible hangovers, regrets.
Pregnancy tests.
Pregnancy
Yeah, exactly.
tests.
Have you guys speaking of regrets in spring break, have you seen the numbers that have come in on the cases of new venereal diseases over this last spring break?
Ew.
Oh my God.
No.
Terrible.
Well, that was not the show we want to do. Although, I mean, it is.
It is
I mean,
so
it is human
bad.
history. I mean,
That made me think of it because they were. Yeah, I'm sure that bar contributed
Yeah.
to at least a few cases.
Well, I know that one guy got lucky.
That's right.
Mhm.
yeah, I think
Unless
he
he
was.
lost her on the way back to the hotel. That could have happened.
That
He either
could've
got
happened.
really
Oh, no.
lucky or unlucky, considering.
He might have woken up in a bathtub full of ice and missing a kidney or two.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Call the hospital written in lipstick on the mirror.
Yeah, so that's a different show.
Ian
Pam.
says that's a
It
different
is.
show, Pam.
So sorry.
Well, I
Couldn't
mean,
hold
we
that
have a
one
good time. And people ask why we don't edit, is because this is genuine. This is us. We're just weirdos. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, we
I
do
beg
that.
to differ.
Oh my God, have you heard?
I believe that VD is a huge part of the human race and how we've evolved over the years. It plays a huge
Valentine's
part.
We
Day?
can probably do a show on
Yes,
that, but I'm
Valentine's
still
Day.
going to avoid it. Let's not do that. Maybe Enzo, when you start your own podcast, that can be the first show.
Yeah.
Sounds very itchy.
Did the land,
It'll
did the
probably
land
be
bridge
laughing,
spread
too.
venereal disease over more of the world?
You're
Oh my
welcome
gosh.
for the topic.
All right, let's get back on topic. We're going to start out with the Sunda Shelf, or Sundaland, as it's called. It's in the tropics. It was an exposed extension of mainland Southeast Asia, linking areas that are now the Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java, Borneo, and the surrounding shelf zones during lower sea stands. So about 13,000 years ago. Recent paleogeographic and genetic work describes how rapid sea rise levels from the last glacial maximum into the mid-Holocene repeatedly redrew this landscape that would have fragmented the human populations there and their travel routes, which we've got some interesting stuff on travel routes, coming from this general region. New work on submerged Sundaland has also begun to recover actual faunal evidence from drowned river valleys, which is a big deal because it shifts the story from plausible to probably. So it is really interesting. I have pictures that I've actually organized into. So here is a picture that shows how Sundaland would have looked. These are what's there now, and then the white part there is what is below water now. I think this next slide is probably a little clearer. Yes. So got Borneo there, Sumatra, Java, and all that land in between them. That was actually land. So that's a big chunk of land. That's the size of some countries, or actually some fairly large countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a small area. So that could be a good candidate for the mythical continent of Mu, which we've discussed before. There is no reason to believe that wasn't absolutely full of people. So
From the parts that are still above the water line now, that's exactly what they found. Very other species of humans. That's where the famous uh, Hobbit race
Yep.
is that they found is down in there, amongst a
Yeah.
few others.
There was a lot of populations there, and they became isolated. That's why the people from these areas are so different now, is because they've been isolated for, thousands of years after all this water came up. And we know that this is a real thing. So researchers believe that this area was a critical center for human migration and cultural development. So this was pretty much mostly marshy plain with massive river systems, similar to the Siam River and the area so jungle and rainforest. This would have been rich in all sorts of fauna, flora, some of which probably became extinct because of these rising waters. And this affected the whole world. We're going to talk about that. We're going to basically go to the other side of the world here in a little bit. But
it drowned slowly. It wasn't like a fast overnight thing. It was like
it went in spurts.
Yeah.
So I've got some maps from Doggerland that showed, kind of how the spurts went. But the last big one was, I don't even remember what they call that melt water, B2 or something like that. There's a lot
It's something like that, meltwater B or something like that.
Yeah,
but
it's somewhere in all this research I've pulled.
Because of course, in our map here, the lighter shaded areas, that's what's now currently underwater. But over time, as the sea sea started to rise,
it became inundated.
Because it wasn't, as much as certain texts say, it didn't all happen at one overnight, or even over a period of 40 days or 40 nights, but it did rise in such a way over like thousands of years, where
or at least hundreds.
Or at least hundreds, where you would have these islands that would just slowly, or these flatlands would just start disappearing. That coastline moves in a little bit further, and almost to the point by generationally where the next generation's like, I remember the ocean was way over there, now it's right up next to our huts, we got to move.
Yeah.
And
we see that happen today. I can't remember the name of the country, but it's like basically it's shrunk down to just like the very tips, and I can't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh. But they're starting to move people off of it now because it's not going to be there within probably the next 50 years.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
definitely not within the next 50.
And they found sunken sites all over the world, and we're probably going to be talking about some of them in the next few episodes, because this is a big deal, and a lot of, like I said, the reason why this is fringy is because a lot of people have looked at this over the year. Oh, y'all's a bunch of fools. That's not how it's always been the way it is now. No, it really hasn't, because the only thing constant about the Earth is that it changes constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're finding evidence of flora and fauna beneath the ice of Antarctica.
Yeah, and it's really coming to light now that the ice caps are starting to melt.
Well, they're starting to build back up, because it goes in cycles.
Yeah.
But all that core drilling and all that stuff they're doing, they're finding all kinds of crazy stuff.
Have you guys been watching all the fantastic stuff that Graham Hancock's been pulling out of White Sands?
Mm-mm.
I have not.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've been working on White Sands in New Mexico for the last couple of years, and he's been like on the ground with it. They've been vacuuming up the sand floor, and underneath is layers and layers and layers of human footprints thousands and thousands of them
I have seen some of
alongside
that, yes.
the
Oh,
the
wow.
giant fauna. And they started digging down in places, and they started finding where like they found like woolly mammoth and giant sloth, and then thousands and thousands of years below that is more human feet.
Yeah.
It just keeps
Yeah,
going.
I
like
did
they
see a
haven't even
reel
stopped
the other
yet.
day about that. So yeah, I remember now.
There's a Netflix special out right now if you at home are interested in going and seeing it, with Graham Hancock, where he's really hitting on that. And I started watching the next part of it where he was hitting in the Amazon. They started using LiDAR to look through the tree canopy.
And found many cities.
Not cities. They were
Highways.
finding geoglyphs.
Oh,
Huge
wow.
geoglyphs with roads. So it was quite obvious that there was a structured settlement there at some point that had to have roads.
Some of those were elevated roads too, where they were built up.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
seen some of the LiDAR from that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Future show. I mean, we'll have to do it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
This stuff is out there. And then you wonder, why are there all these people who think, oh, Atlantis was real? Oh, I think it was real. It may or may not have been called Atlantis, but I believe that there was something there. And that's kind of the point of the show. So, and we'll discuss this throughout the show. What if these legends of Atlantis and Mu and these other places are just fragmented memories of people having to actually leave these areas, their old homelands, where they were for thousands of years? I mean, it's very obvious with the fact that the Blackfeet have said forever that they have been where they've been for 18,000 years before all this stuff melted. And now that they've proved with genetic testing that, yeah, they have been there for 18,000 years. So this information can pass from person to person without writing over the centuries. And the what if part of this, the fringe part of this, is not so fringe, I believe, is that some of these legends, some of these stories that has been passed down forever and ever in all these different societies are just fragmented memories from basically an apocalypse.
You know what's really sad is when you think about the fact of how white men came in and completely decimated the oral histories because they took it away from so many native tribes.
Oh, and
What
the
was
written
lost?
histories of South America.
Yeah.
They literally burned giant piles of books on paper. The Incas were, they produced thousands and thousands of pages of paper every year and filled books and books and books and had libraries and scrolls, and all of it was just destroyed as, heathen trash. So
crazy.
Of course, I'm a bibliophile. I hate the loss of any kind of information like that. It hurts me right here.
Yeah.
You burned books? Oh my God, you are a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I am. So this next slide, do you want to talk about this one? This slide it's a map without water.
Yeah. So this is what Mark was speaking about, the Blackfeet tribe. I'm actually part of that study when I got into Ancestry.com a number of years ago, threw my hat in to see what was there, and I was contacted by the Ancestry group and a secondary group that is working with the Blackfeet Indian tribe of the Montana Lower Canada area to be a part of the study, because they found out that, of course, what, like Mark said, that the Blackfeet tribe itself actually has the oldest DNA chain that they have ever found. And it's so old they can't actually date it because we don't have knowledge of a date that far back that they've been sitting there. Then the more interesting thing to note is they do know that they did travel into the area at some point, but so far, the haplogroup that they're part of, the B2 haplogroup, is the only group that they found that did not come across the Bering Strait. And I found this map earlier and sent it over to Mark because it really is kind of relevant to what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the Bering Strait tonight too. But I wanted to show you, they've traced this haplogroup back through the Polynesian islands and then back over into the Asian country area there. And you can kind of see what the route that is that they think that they took. This is the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean back past 18,000 years ago. And all of those raised areas are literal islands. So rather than having the daunting task of taking an entire ocean in front of you, you had an extraordinary long chain of islands to hop, skip, and jump through to get over to the South America area, which is where they're pretty sure they came up
and
through.
Most a few days between them. When you get over the farther east you get there, it seems like they're a little farther apart, but at most you're talking a couple of days.
Yeah.
So that really wasn't a big voyage, if you just take it in steps or generations or whatever.
And I'm sure it probably wasn't all done at one shot. They weren't like, we're going to move and here we go. I'm sure it came over the course of hundreds and thousands, hundreds of years, and
a lot of these islands would have been
generations
inside of one
moved,
another.
And but okay, I got some notes. So they said during the last ice age, the sea levels were about 426 feet lower than they are today, and the Pacific is known as being very hilly underneath. So this is kind of what you're seeing here. I just think it's so interesting, and they haven't even pinpointed them clear back into the Asian area. They're just assuming that's where they came from. They've really kind of gotten them back to the island chain, and then have not gone back from there because there's really nothing to judge it against. I just think it's so extraordinary, and I feel kind of honored that I get to be a little bit of it. It's kind of neat.
It's pretty cool.
Even possible that their origination zone is underwater now, where they originated. It's entirely possible.
Absolutely could be.
Yeah.
Possible.
Super interesting. And this map's a little misleading. They do know that there were 4 main tribes of the Blackfeet, and they all kind of made land at different areas of South America. And the Siksika, which is I'm a part of, came down the lowest towards the lower part of South America. I have a little bit of Yucatan in my DNA from having picked that up at the bottom there, and it travels down through that line of Blackfeet. So they had marriages and all sorts of fun and parties all the way up. Yes. But I just thought it was really neat. The map alone is really interesting to look at. I mean,
it is. It's very cool.
Could you imagine this is what this looked like at the time?
Yeah. I was reading a DNA study the other day that suggested that Neanderthal men had a thing for Homo sapien women, because that's how the DNA traveled and got into our DNA. It was mostly Neanderthal men, Homo sapien women. Though there was a few that was the other way, but that was the way it mostly worked. So I mean, the humans are going to human.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we saw it on the show in the bar last week. Right?
I was about to say, every place has a spring break, and
that's right. Spring.
That's pretty fascinating, though, seeing that trail like that. I mean, to me, that's how they had to have found like Easter Island and super remote places like that, as they found it when the water was much lower, and you could hopscotch from one island to the other. And even some of those larger gaps, they probably were watching birds. Like, why do birds fly out that way? There has to be another island or something like that direction.
Yep.
Right. Well, and when you get the farther west you get, the closer they all are. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these would have been within sight. You can see the next one, and from there you can see the next one. And there it looks like there was a lot of. It was more of an archipelago than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I thought another interesting thing about this map is it really kind of helps to show you how much landmass we have lost. If you look closer to any of the land masses, I mean, just look at Australia, you can see how much bigger it once was.
yeah, you see how big the continental shelf goes around it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes this huge chunk where, Australia and New Guinea are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, 400 and some feet, that's a lot. 120 meters. Yeah, about 400 and some feet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water.
It is.
And it drowned the coastlines. It drowned these low-lying areas. In fact, the next one we're going to talk about, we're going to go to Europe. Everybody says, oh, it's there. It's all south. It's the Bering Strait. We're going to talk about Doggerland. How people got back and forth. There was a land bridge between the British Isles and France. You could walk all the way across, and people did. And we have actual proof that I was able to obtain to show you all. Uh-oh, we lost Jess.
Uh-oh. There she is.
Nope, there she is.
I was just getting a drink. I didn't want to chug a lug while you were talking.
Oh, I do. Don't worry about it.
Do it all the time.
We're going to talk about Doggerland.
You're the only one with manners, apparently, because we're all just.
I'm going to read about Doggerland is often called Britain's Atlantis. Fertile landscape that once linked Great Britain to continental Europe. It was plains. It's often referred to as a Mesolithic paradise of lagoons, forested valleys, and valleys. See, I stopped talking correctly. And rich hunting grounds. Around 6200 BCE, massive underwater landslide off the coast of Norway, the Beringia slide, triggered a tsunami that likely devastated whatever remaining low-lying islands of Doggerland. So if you can look at this map I've got on here, in the upper left corner, there's Doggerland. And then it gets a little smaller, and then it's the Dogger Archipelago. And then just little bitty Dogger Island. And then it's just a bank under the water here. And by the time you get around
What's the years between frames there? It's like every couple thousand years.
I do not have a time frame on that.
It's in the upper left-hand part of each individual picture, I think.
Let's see if
Yeah, it's about 1,000 years in between. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
A is
Well,
10,000.
your eyes are better than mine. I'm
9,000.
going to pull up the original picture and blow it up here.
Hang on, let me take a look here.
Right. So
I'm shocked I can see it. I'm blind as a bat.
Well, you know what? I've got another slide that it doesn't show the timeline. But
And somewhere, I don't remember which show it was, Mark, that you had a map that we could actually see the riverways and things that were beneath the ocean right through here. Well, not really in Doggerland. I guess it was on the west side.
yeah, well, here's one. It does show rivers and stuff.
Yeah.
And all that stuff around. I'm sorry that picture is so small. It would not fit that picture was just laid out
I
wrong.
can read that one.
My slide. But I mean, see, it was huge. It was basically a giant peninsula that stuck out. It was not always an island. It was all connected. And you can see the river deltas. Yeah. Several river deltas there. I see at least a dozen rivers in the area, lakes, swampland, plains, forests, and they have proof that people were there, because this is stuff that has come up in fishing nets from that area. It's only about 100 feet deep there. It's not super deep.
Ian said Doggerland actually stretched northwest and right up to the west coast of Scotland. Although
Yeah,
we tend to focus on the southeast England part.
Yeah, see, here's what he was saying. It goes way up north, and then it goes quite a ways south and around the coast. So it was huge. It was huge. But this is stuff that's come up in nets and stuff when people were
Looks
out
like
there.
a turkey.
It
That
does
was
look
a
like
little
a
bit.
turkey.
Wasn't Doggerland going away or becoming or going underwater? See, words are hard, Mark.
It took it a while.
It took it a while, but there was also a slide, the Strega slide.
Yeah, that's what I talked about. That finished it off. Yeah.
Yeah, that did it in.
A tsunami. So,
Yep.
I mean, let's see if I've got a. So, Doggerland was once connected to Britain to the continental Europe across what is now the North Sea. Archaeologists have reconstructed it as a shifting Mesolithic landscape of rivers, marshes, lakes, and habitable plains, gradually inundated by the Holocene sea level rise. Recent modeling emphasizes that Doggerland was not lost in one theatrical gulp, but by a drawn-out process of encroaching water, shrinking territory, and ecological change over millennia, until 8150 BP, which that is an unfamiliar term for me, but a long time ago. Older popular treatments sometimes cast this as the final doomsday wave that erased Doggerland in one hit. More recent work is more careful. The tsunami was real and significant, but the drowning of Doggerland was already underway, and the event may not have been the single apocalyptic finish imagined. That's from Cambridge University. So,
You know, the interesting part, Plato dated Atlantis' destruction to roughly 9600 BCE. So that was right in that window.
right in that area. So,
Yeah.
and that corresponds with that meltwater
Yep.
B whatever.
And the Younger
Yeah.
Dryas and all that
Yeah.
stuff is
Yeah.
All that stuff
all around
happened
that time.
in a few hundred years of each other. And you can see how much the coastlines sunk. Now, I want you all to pick up a map of the world right now. Well, not right now, but you can go take your time. He's got one right there.
Go Enzo.
Very
Look.
nice.
At where all the population centers are across the world. Most of the population centers on this big blue ball are really close to the blue. They really are. Most of the big ones. Look at New York. You've got LA. All kinds of, all around the United States, all around the world. All kinds of population. Most of the population is on the coast because that's where trade happens.
My back.
So, yeah, Chris says, I was like, right now? He's going to beat me later. So when you look at the globe and look at the map where people live, what happens if the sea level were to go up 140 meters or 120 meters, 420 feet?
All that's underwater.
All of that's underwater. I mean, some of the tall buildings will stick out until they fall over. But they didn't have tall buildings. They weren't building tall buildings. They were building low
That we
stone
know
buildings.
of.
And wood. They were building with wood. We know they were building with wood. Although wood doesn't survive very well, they have found wooden tools recently too, as well as the Lincoln logs that we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
So they're building with wood, and it gets flooded. What happens to it? pretty much gone unless we're lucky and find little bits and pieces here and there. So wooden ships, wooden boats, their boats wouldn't have been huge, but I bet they would have had a lot of them because, especially as you got farther south, there were huge forests in that time. So there was no shortage of wood to build with. I'm sure it was probably the prevalent thing that they built with. And we've even found buildings made out of mammoth tusks, of all things. So when we say that there was a society, it doesn't have to be a society like we look at today. It would have been probably a more tribal looking situation, but still much more advanced than we expect from what we were taught as kids.
Oh, I'm sure.
They were not the savages. And I really hate that word because it's really been abused. I'm sure life was not pleasant, but I would not say that they were necessarily savages. They were just like us. There was good, there was bad, there was smart, there was dumb. And really, when you get around to it, I say that our ancestors weren't dumb. A lot of them were, because a lot of their descendants are too.
I was about to say some of the descendants aren't that bright.
Some of the descendants, are not too bright either. I have my moments, as anybody who's watched or listened to the show can tell you.
Well, like when we were kids in school and things like that, we're cavemen back in these days, and
right.
you never had in your imagination that cavemen back in those days, hunter gatherers were like building boats and going out and like building nets and fishing and journeying to other lands to go hunt and
Well, Blumbo's Cave we talked about last week or the week before last. They were 2 miles from the shore. Now it's swallowed up by the sea, depending on the time of day.
Did you see Ian's comment? It's a pretty good one.
Interestingly, underwater archaeologists have recently discovered a hinge monument 20 to 30 meters off the coast of Scotland that matches dimensionally the earliest stone circle in the Orkneys. Yeah, I have actually seen that. I can't remember whose reel it was, but it was on one of the many reels that I get because I've been following a lot of this stuff. And it's obvious that if there is land and there is game, people are going to be there. Absolutely going to be there.
If you look at Egypt now, they have always said, that they came, the pyramids and things were already there when they're
they told Herodotus that they built their civilization on the bones of another one.
Yes, yeah. And look at the measurements and the science that went into building those, the math that went into it, and to realize that was there far before the people that are there now, that were there 2,000 years ago that we thought were old.
The people that were there 2,000 years ago aren't the same people that's there today.
No, they're not. And to look at it that way, it's easy to say, well, whoever came before us, they didn't have a lot of tools, or they weren't very technologically inclined. Who knows how many civilizations in we are at this point,
Exactly.
No, I mean,
which goes along with like what Mark was saying earlier, is most of your like city centers and stuff like that, where all your learning and all your education is all going to be happening, are on the coast.
Yeah.
Look at Alexandria.
Water rises, it gets wiped, and even as far as like Cortez and a bunch of those guys, monsters came over destroying stuff.
Yeah.
That knowledge can be lost
so
easily.
Everything that we take for granted right now could be lost in a year.
Oh yeah,
easily.
We get a EMP, and every one of our computers gets shorted out how
Yep.
much knowledge has been lost
Yeah.
just from computers alone going dark.
Yeah, because nobody has books.
Right.
Except for Pam, Jess, Mark.
And I'm sure
We'll
Enzo
save
has a pretty
everyone.
good collection too. Yeah, and how fragile are books?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
doesn't take much to totally destroy a book. A fire, a flood,
Or
wind.
just age, depending, that's something that was talked about on some of the old papyruses and things like that. At some point, they're going to crumble because they're so old. And when you come down to the fact that it's hard to replace, you don't have very many scribes, they're going to pick and choose what they can save. And at the time, most of the scribes were of the church. So a lot of them chose, scriptures and more church related documents to save. And so there was a lot that wasn't church related that was lost just from
and a lot of stuff that they copy are less for the preserving of knowledge and more for the controlling of the populace.
Yeah.
Because humans suck.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. Humans can be the most fantastic creature in the universe and the most abysmal, sometimes all in the same day.
Yep. If we would just quit trying to kill each other, that would,
yeah, that ain't going to
make
happen.
a lot of headway right there.
If humans are around for another 100,000 years or even 1,000,000 years, that ain't going to happen.
No,
it's just
we're idiots.
Human nature is, well, we're still controlled by our emotions, and we probably always will be.
Mm-hmm.
Some good, some bad, most of us in the middle. So,
yeah,
that's my philosophical thought for the day. So there we are with Doggerland. There is probably so much stuff, and the thing is the ocean around there is really not that deep. So you'd have to be really dedicated. But I think that we're going to find more and more. Like I said, we've already seen we accidentally come up with stuff in the nets and whatnot. Just think what would happen if you took a dredge through there and started siphoning up some of those stuff around, especially around the old riverbeds. I bet you would find a lot of stuff that would surprise you.
Yeah, we think we know everything that's in our rivers now, but when there's big droughts and things, look at stuff that's getting uncovered. There's ships that are, or not ships, but boats that are
cars, houses
that no one knew was there, and it's not very far under the water.
No. Rivers move.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched them move in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I watched a road move one way because the river ate it, and then on the other side, I saw as the river moved that more was exposed, and you can really see that in the Mississippi River Valley.
Yeah.
Whole loops got cut off, became lakes, or just became dry land. They found a ship in the middle of a field.
Yeah, well, there's one on the Mississippi River, or is it the Missouri? Maybe it's the Missouri, up near Kansas City, up in that area. That's out in the middle of the field.
Yeah. So
that happens
lots
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole paddle boats.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The
and paddle boats.
The world is always changing. The world is always changing.
Yeah, it is.
So let's move on to the famous land bridge that everybody talks about, Beringia, or the Bering Strait. Now, I am sure that a lot of people came over from the Siberian side over through there and lived there. Whoa, what did I hit? Are we still there? Yes.
That's never good.
I hit a button and everything blinked on me. I was like, what the hell did I hit? So here is the Bering Strait. It's not much of a strait.
I have to admit, I was telling Mark earlier before the show, until started reading up a little bit on this today and watched a couple YouTube videos about the things that they found in this area to track human movement going across. I didn't realize how big that area was.
Yeah, and I did not get any photos of some of these artifacts that they found in here, but there's been quite a few, much like the Doggerland artifacts.
When you hear of the Bering Strait now, and what comes to mind is just this little bitty, maybe a mile wide
strip
point.
Yeah. You just think
maybe
this
they
little
walk
area
in front of each
between,
other.
Alaska and Russia, just this little strip. You think that's, oh, wow, all of humanity that came over to North America crossed through that little toll booth area there? What's going on?
It always reminds me of Sarah Palin.
I can see
I can see Russia from here.
Oh.
No, I mean,
I was not following that. I get it now. That's funny.
I can see Russia from my house. There's nothing wrong with that.
But there's and again, much like some of the other ones we've talked about, certain those offshoots that didn't quite make it of humanity. They found a couple traces of those up in the northern part of it. They found a lot of evidence that like centralized villages, that they were making their homes out of, mammoth bones and hides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was interesting all the tools that they found that looked very much like the Clovis tools that they found down in the area.
Yeah.
So
the Clovis had to come from somewhere, and then they disappeared all of a sudden. I have theories about that too, but not for this show. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge area. Look how Alaska is the biggest state in the United States. And the area that is below water now is several times its size. So there was a really good sized landmass right there. And like Enzo was talking about, they know there were people there. We know people came across there. There were people who set up shop there. That was their homes. So icy lakes. This map isn't great on rivers, but you know that there was river systems in there. You can see the outlets of what was probably a delta here. It was cold, but I mean, we had the megafauna out there. They were living on mammoths, probably giant sloths. I'm sure that there were whatever kind of deer was prevalent at the time. I'm sure reindeer were all over there.
I was going to say, have you seen some of those giant sloths? Are you sure that they weren't the ones munching on us? I guess they were.
They moved too slow. Yeah, they moved too slow. Yeah. I think I can get away, and I'm pretty slow.
Yeah. Let me just take a step back to dodge that.
Now, a saber-toothed tiger or a terror bird? Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that's where everybody's screwed on.
I'm kibble.
This particular area that is now all underwater, terrain-wise, was all. They found evidence through core samples and stuff like that of some smaller shrubbery and stuff like that, and some really basic trees. Not enough for like some of the giant creatures to survive on or anything like that in there, but there was some stuff. So
Ian said, I missed it earlier. In the event of a nuclear attack, Amazon data centers would be a prime target. He's not apologizing for the joke, and nor should he. That is absolutely spectacular, Ian. I love it. I'm stealing it. I will use it.
And this sloth was his spirit animal. We are right there. I think all of us are pretty much right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much slothful. If I was one of the 7 deadly sins, sloth would be it. Or maybe gluttony, or maybe sloth and gluttony. I don't know. So,
when we ghost hunt, it used to be a big joke of when we were just mainly ghost hunters. It still kind of is, though. You didn't have to be fast. You just had to be faster than Pam. I was ghost
high bar. I'm sorry.
Yep, just had to be faster than Pam. You were good to go.
Yeah, you were good to go.
You Scooby Doo
So-
right on out of there.
It's a pretty huge area. And this next slide shows it not as nice, but it's you can see the blown up area there. So you get a good idea from looking at that. That's damn near the size of the current continental United States. This square of Beringia. So
Pretty much.
And here
What-
you can see the Bering Strait on there. So
Mhm.
that's what we've always pictured. That's, at least for myself, I can speak. Just
Right.
that little bitty swash of land right there. But no, it was way bigger.
It was huge, but I mean, Siberia and Alaska were very well connected. Like I said, that's a continent-sized chunk of land between Alaska and the tip of Siberia and all the land that fills around it. That's a bunch right there. You know, there were villages and towns and possibly even what would pass for a city, which we would probably consider a small town. You know, I mean, where there's game, where there's food, there's going to be people.
Yeah.
And that's
People
also
wanna
why what a lot of other people don't realize about crossing over the Bering Bridge there is it was better illustrated, I think, in that previous picture you had where it showed the ice. There was pretty much a solid ice wall there along the southern part of Alaska and the eastern part of Alaska that was pretty much impassable at first. But as those ices were all breaking apart over 1,000 years or so, it started making channels that were going all the way down into further part of North America, and they've found evidence that they were migrating
Following
basically
those
along that
travels.
way because
Following
the
the
ice
game.
line. Yeah, the ice line went right up to the water, so it wasn't like they could just follow the coast or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
that's still a huge chunk of land. So, I mean, it didn't take long for it to disappear either because it's all pretty low lying, especially the light areas. But you're right. It probably took 1,000 years or more
Yeah, for sure.
until that big glacial melt off that we keep talking about at the end of the Younger Dryas. And then you've seen, if you look at the Badlands, the big washes that, basically hydraulic mining at the scale that only Mother Nature can produce. You don't get washes like that with water over 100 years. You get washes like that over water over days.
Yeah.
So there were big melt-offs and there was massive flooding, but there was a lot of slow flooding too. And I can see some of these areas get encroached on and get encroached on and get encroached on. And all of a sudden there's this huge ice melt and all of a sudden there's nowhere left to run.
Mhm.
And so these stories that we have of Mu, of Atlantis, I believe that there is some basis in fact for these stories. You've got all these flood myths
Yeah.
that go back 12,000 years or longer and evidence of massive flooding. So we know people were there. Some people got out. They remembered it. They passed it on. So then there's other land masses that I'm going to, just kind of go through. There's an Arabio-Persian Gulf basin, sometimes framed as a Gulf oasis hypothesis that maybe that was the Garden of Eden because it would be in about the right area. So, and then the Black Sea. Well, we know that there was a lot of flooding in the Black Sea area. In fact, in the whole Balkans area, There's evidence of entire cities below. I forget what the name of the lake is, and you can actually dive and go along the road between, the islands where these places were. That was above water, and it's not that uncommon. It happens today. Land rises here, land goes away here. It's just the world is constantly changing. You can't just sit here and believe just because it's the way it's been your whole life that it's going to stay that way.
Yeah, for sure.
So, let's see. That might be most of what I've got. But that's the takeaway here is whenever you say the word Atlantis or Mu or whatever, automatically you're a crackpot. But here's the what if. The what if all these stories are just pieced together fragments from this time period that we know existed, from these homelands where these people lived that had to evacuate or barely escaped or whatever. What if all these stories morphed? Oh, we had this great society. Well, their great society was a dozen villages, 3 towns, and a seaport.
Yeah.
But that's how it was remembered, and it was passed on. And just, how when you play the telephone game, how things get bigger and crazier the farther it goes down.
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of these oral histories have been that way, which is why
you always pump up your thing. It's like, oh, I'm from this giant city that's just north of here that, it's got like 500 people in it.
Right.
But to you, it's the biggest thing ever. It's just like the way they used to draw maps back in the day. They shot, if it's a French cartographer, France is this huge thing in the middle, and then there's little tiny countries off to the side that are not proportionally anywhere near it. Things like that. You're going to pump up your own thing to make it sound better than everybody else's. So that kind of stuff is exactly what you're talking about.
And I haven't even got into ancient maps.
Yeah.
I mean, we start looking at some of these maps that were copies of copies of copies of maps. How did they get these land masses right when they weren't discovered till centuries after these maps were produced? Well, if you're making copies of copies of copies and something survived this mess, well, that's what you're copying.
How'd they know Antarctica was there, though?
Yeah, and they had the landmass as it is under the ice pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had to map that and then made a map, and then it got copied and copied out. The Piers Resi map.
Piers Reese map.
Yeah.
I'm pretty familiar with that one. I've done a couple stories on it. I don't think it's showing Antarctica.
Oh, you don't think so?
Really?
So I don't think it is. Because the whole thing, because the entire Perry Reese map is only like the left third of an entire map that he was doing. And that's the only surviving part. It was done on an antelope skin. And basically, when he started getting down to the southern part of South America, he was running out of antelope and kind of had to start scribbling it off to the side. Plus, in his own writings, because it's all in Arabic there on the side when you have it translated, he wasn't that big of a believer. It was a lot of Portuguese cartographers that had given him that information, and he's trash talking them all the way down the map. They reported large snakes in this area, so they didn't investigate it properly. The cowards, stuff like that. Just crap.
Well, that brings it into a whole much more entertaining light that I'm going to have to look into.
It was hilarious.
That's funny.
There are many maps that show things that they shouldn't show.
And speaking of maps,
that's
too, if you think about how much of the ocean floor we've mapped to date, it's only a fraction. It's hard telling what is still out there left to be discovered.
Yeah, even if we just do the shallow regions like the continental shelves that are underneath water, we're going to find stuff. We're going to find stuff that is going to blow our socks off.
Mhm.
I
And
can't believe people were there.
It was just a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the disappearing, reappearing islands on those old maps. We've just discussed throughout the whole rest of the show that a lot of this stuff happened fairly quickly over at least 100 or so years, a couple hundred years, where really big changes would occur, where whole islands would just disappear. And if you were happen to be drawing your map, it's like, okay, there's an island here, an island here, an island here, and it gets copied to the next generation and so forth. That's where you get, wait a minute, there's supposed to be an island here.
And in 2
I kinda remember
generations,
there
if
being
water
something
comes
there.
up, where'd that island go? I know it was right here.
Oh, that's
Grandpa said it was here.
see Ian's comment.
Yeah.
It's
Worth remembering, maps were considered state secrets during the Empire days. There's a lot of stories I remember hearing about when they would go into Cairo or something like that. The first thing they do as soon as they dock is they'd claim all their maps and they'd come and go copy them. And then, we will let you leave now, kind of a thing. Pray I don't ask for more. Kind of a thing.
And they did that was
a
big in Alexandria. If you had books and they didn't have a copy, you didn't leave until they had a copy. They would give it back to you after they copied it, which may take an inordinate amount of time and your cargo may spoil.
Because if you think about that, because when you get people coming from all over, you don't know what kind of weird local dialect things are written in, and not to mention separate languages altogether, and forget if there's calligraphy involved. It's hard enough to read as it is.
Lord, yes.
But, and they have to try and translate that so you can be on your way.
Block letters sometimes. Although I still do a pretty good job with cursive, but that's because I'm old. Ish.
Before we leave out, would you go back to your second slide?
Yes.
There we go. Back again. There we go. So before we leave out, I think it would behoove me to talk about this just a little bit because we are the lovers of ancient history and megaliths. And one of the reasons why they know that Sundaland was most definitely a larger civilization at one time is because if you look down at the very bottom, you're going to see that little island chain of Java. It heads into Bali and then down into the little smaller key islands there. In Java, as we speak, they're excavating what they're pretty sure is a megalith that is even older than Göbekli Tepe.
Nice.
Nice.
It's called let me see if I can pronounce it correct. The Gunung Panang. And it sits up on a little hilltop, and all you can really see sticking out of the top of the hill is some little columns and some little carvings. But if you go down deep, you start excavating through all of these layers. They have gone down through 16,000 years of buildings underneath of this. Wow. Every civilization that's come on top of it has built a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Right now, just to give you an idea, they've gone back 16,000 years of men building on this one little area. Göbekli Tepe, they've dated only to about 11 to 12,000 years. Maybe 13 at the most so far. Not saying that Göbekli Tepe isn't even older than that, because, of course, they haven't barely scratched the surface there. But the Gunung site is extraordinarily old. Now, you would not have this kind of a structure and long-term building happening in a place that was just a little tiny island.
No, you would not.
So
and if it was connected to all of this, you've got the makings of a very sizable country, or probably several.
Yes. So if you've got this kind of a building just on Java, could you imagine what is underneath the sea right now?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Along the rivers, which you can actually, if you look at this, well, you can see the river systems underneath that they've mapped. So, yeah, you're absolutely
Look at it.
correct.
They are pretty sure they're looking at the oldest megalithic structure in the world right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I couldn't let us go the whole show and not mention
Yes,
that
I
Gunham
did
site in
forget that.
Java.
And this is one of the things that Graham Hancock talks about a lot.
This was in
This site,
the first part of that one special he did on Netflix.
the first one, yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't watched the second one yet. I need to get together with everybody and
Me
watch it.
neither.
I don't have Netflix anymore because I didn't watch it.
Yeah, they're
I got
saying
mad
that,
at it. So I got rid of it.
that Gunham Padang could be the world's oldest known pyramid, and it clearly does look like a pyramid in this picture. I got it shared down below there.
Did you? I have not. I just found out about it today. Apparently, they found an underwater pyramid off the coast, I believe, South America. So,
Have you seen they started digging into what they think is the second Sphinx?
Yes.
yes, I've seen that.
So cool.
Hey, Mark,
Right.
bring up that thing that Enzo has down at the bottom.
New
Yeah.
evidence suggests Indonesia's Gunung Padang that's the same place you were talking about, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Could be the world's oldest known pyramid, and they have a couple theories that it might have looked something like this
Wow.
originally, and it has underground structures built,
Yeah.
underneath of all of that and built into the mountain.
That
Well,
is cool.
actually, their theory is that those lower levels there were originally the top, and that those are the oldest structures. And then,
They
as
just
you
built
know,
on top of it.
they kept building and they kept building and they
Piling
kept
on,
building.
piling on.
Yeah. Like I said, like they're down there on that third level that you're seeing right now, which they're dating to about 16,000 years ago. They know that there might be lower. They're still working. They're still going down.
Dang. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty darn cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether you think that no matter what you think, there is evidence out there that makes you really need to examine what you were taught. Because, and that's another thing, and we've talked about it before, the earth changes, so does science.
Yeah.
Science changes constantly. What we thought was a fact 100 years ago isn't. And our ability to investigate these things has only improved in the last century or so. And unless we wipe ourselves out, it's only going to improve further. And we're going to get more and more of this evidence. And again, this is the bibliophile in me. I hate the fact that we've lost so much information.
Yeah.
How many stories, how many of these myths and stuff that we've learned over the years as mythological things were based on real people that just got blown out of proportion. Maybe a great general or a great king or even Joe Schmo down the block who decided to, build a giant maze or whatever. The more we look into this, the more it just fascinates me. So,
Yeah.
I don't have a huge amount of new material.
There's if anyone's interested, there is a couple new videos out on there's a thing here on YouTube, a channel here on YouTube called Funny Old World, OLDE. where she's Havana or Savannah, what's her name is. But anyways, she does a lot of ancient history type stuff like that. But she has two-parter that she just finished doing today or yesterday on basically the idea that instead of basically the interpretation for specific words that Plato used where he's describing Atlantis in the story were misinterpreted.
Yeah,
And
is that Johanna something or other?
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow her on Facebook. She's fun.
She's
so excited about everything.
Yeah, she's back to doing video. She had her baby finally, and she's back to doing videos. And she did basically it's focusing on the Green Sahara, because the Sahara Desert, all of northern part of Africa used to be green like 6,000 years ago.
Yeah, not even that long, really.
Yeah. So, but using a different interpretation, it kind of, as oddly enough, it goes back to when you start factoring in a bunch of other things of the center, where the center, main trade hub would have been, it's right back at the Reichardt structure again.
Yep.
So there's more evidence for that.
Pillars of Hercules are really supposed to be.
Well, apparently, according to her in the video, the Pillars of Heracles or whatever they were called, there was like 8 different places with that name back in the day. Not just they're on the western end of the
strait
between Africa and all that.
Which we know at one time. We know at one time the Strait of Gibraltar was closed and the Mediterranean was mostly dry.
Yep.
Right.
Because there's a huge dip at Gibraltar where the water pushed through enough to carve a huge depression. There was a giant waterfall there for, they say, probably centuries.
That's wild.
But yeah, check out Funny Old World. It's a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
She is. She gets so excited. She cracks me up.
Yeah. Oh, she really does.
I know what I was going to tell you. So, I have another podcast that's called In Other Words, and it's where we bring on creatives and things to talk about their life and things. But we had a lady on last week before last. It would be 2 weeks ago Wednesday. Her name's Jacaranda Summerfield. And she is actually a bush pilot, and she takes people on safari, basically. And she was talking about being out and seeing these caves where they had, as part of the Sahara, where it had animals that would have been in these, before it was desert, basically. And one of the caves that she was talking about was very reminiscent of the caves that we were talking about just the Monday before, and I thought it was really cool because I was like, wait a minute, we just talked about this particular cave, and she was like, oh yeah, I know where that's at. I've been there before, and I was just like, it's so cool.
I would love to have the travel budget to go around and check this stuff out.
Right?
Oh yeah, I know.
She went
always gone.
She got her pilot's license, and she was the first woman to actually take and I can't remember, I want to say it was in Narimbi, maybe. I can't remember where it was. But anyway, she was the first woman to be allowed to take this test and became the first pilot. And she's in her 50s, maybe late 50s now, early 60s. And she's still doing it. And her son is Forrest Galente, which he is like, he's not quite Steve Irwin, but he's getting there. So yeah, he's pretty cool.
Neat.
So yeah.
Neat.
I felt like an idiot because I'm like, oh, you said that, Forrest has some videos on YouTube. How can we see those? And she was like, oh, he's got those. He's also on History and Discovery. And I'm like, oh, he's a big deal then. He's a bigger deal than I thought he was. So very cool.
Yeah. Well, before I go, I want to send a shout out to Dave Rich. He's a band member of the Beyonderers, and he's got a new group out there called Ultra Terrestrials. Check him out.
Nice.
I'm in talks with him to maybe use some of his music here on the podcast. His stuff is fantastic. So, and it's all kind of themed along our lines. And it's just got that cool, funky vibe that I just can't stop listening to. And it's just not my normal kind of music. But check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. So.
Any old world.
All
Yeah, that's
right.
exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is. So I will. I'm thinking we're gonna. Do we want to have a change of pace for the next show? Do we want to maybe do
Sure.
something a little different? Okay, I will find something a little different. We will come back to the lost history and drowned
always do.
continent stuff. I mean, there's so much out there, and it's still considered fringy, but not all that fringy anymore. I mean,
Now, when you really
Thank
start
goodness.
digging.
Yep.
when you start digging into this stuff, it's like, what? And we knew when?
Yeah.
And how long has this been happening? What? Why didn't you say anything? Well, because they would have ruined my grant. That's why.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10.
My grant would have gone down the toilet.
It would have gone bye-bye.
So, as with many things in the world, follow the money and you'll find the reason.
Mhm.
So, all right, folks. Well, with that said, I'd like to wish everybody in the chat and everybody who listens to this on other providers a good night. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you will dig into some of this stuff because don't take our word for it. Don't take my word for it. I'm an old mechanic who likes to lean on his toolbox. Dig in there and look at this stuff and look at the actual evidence that's out there. Stuff it is 1B, meltwater pulse 1B. I knew it was.
If you find cool stuff that we didn't
Promise
do.
you will find cool stuff. You will go down rabbit holes that you never knew existed, and it will blow your mind. And you will be mad at your second grade teacher in history. Like
That's usually my thing. Is like just watching a couple videos earlier today. I was like, they could have taught this in school.
Yeah.
and they knew some of it. They didn't.
Yes.
talk about it.
Our education was sorely lacking.
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure.
Well,
Even in just enthusiasm. I just remember sitting through. I hated history when I was little
It was so
because, you know, they plop a bad textbook down in front of you that has the basic nothing on it, expect you to memorize it and then regurgitate it on the test at the end of the week, and then you're on to the next boring thing.
boring. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish I'd had me as a history teacher
Right?
when I was little, because, yeah, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. We could have made it fun.
and see, I
Yeah.
love history. I still love history. I find human behavior fascinating, and that old adage, "Those who know nothing of history are doomed to repeat it," stuck with me. And I see people repeating history all the time. And it's like, don't you guys know how to pick up a freaking book?
Sadly, no. A lot of people don't know how to pick out a book because they were
No,
not
they just
taught to do
regurgitate
so.
whatever they've been told over the interweb or by the
It's
mainstream.
the
media.
address of that book.
Yeah. How do I find that?
Yeah.
I watched a guy in the shop walk right into an aircraft the other day while he was trying to
Gone.
literally just like, you better check that for a dent, buddy. It's like,
Goodness.
it's terrible. I'm almost as bad, but I only do it during my lunch breaks, and I have Kindle
Run into
Unlimited.
planes?
No, I don't need book. I don't need to be looking at anything for that. I run into planes, cars, coffee tables, door handles.
We
I
don't
got a
talk about
bruise
stuff like that.
bruise over here from a door handle the other day. I don't need any seas. I trip over stray nitrogen molecules.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is plain crazy. Yeah, I can trip over a stray nitrogen molecule. It's a
Tripping on a
challenge.
shadow.
I've done that. Shadows are much more substantial than you think they are.
I throw no shade. I have no room.
Now we have to wrap in bubble wrap before you leave the house. But,
Please. Yeah.
you have exciting news. Tell us about your laps with your crutches.
Oh, I'm like, what exciting news.
It's
exciting news.
I have exciting news. What is it? I'm excited to hear. So physical therapy, there's like a track that runs around the outside of physical therapy. Sounds huge. It is not, I promise. 15 of these laps makes a mile. But I made 3 on crutches.
Yay!
So
Congratulations.
thank you. And then after that, she's like, you want to try one crutch? And I was like, no, I don't.
No.
She was like, sure you do. Let's, so I did one crutch and she had a hold of my elbow and my hand. So I don't know if that really counts as one crutch, but we'll take it.
It counts. It's like a crutch and a half.
It's a crutch and a half. There we go.
You were down a quarter of a crutch.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it all day long.
My crutch fractions.
Oh,
My
goodness.
crutch runneth over.
What a hillbilly metric is that?
Hey!
I mean, we could do a show on hillbilly metrics if you really want to.
Boy,
We're
I
in
think
the
we've all
right
grown
area.
up with them. It's over
Yeah.
yonder,
Down the road a piece.
Yeah. Just over
About
the
the
hill.
size
over
of
there.
3 cricks.
Yep.
That's the 3.
3 cricks.
We used to have this. So when
Sloughs.
back in the day when you would go to Tulsa from Caney, there was it seems like it got shorter the older we got too. But there at one time there was like this great big thing off on the west side of the road, and it kind of looked like a Ferris wheel a little bit if you put it on its side and stuck it on a pole. And so, but we always called it the Ferris wheel. And there was these really weird shaped hills that aren't there anymore because they've changed there's houses there and stuff now, but they look like big ant hills. So we used to say on our way to Tulsa, we were an ant hill and a Ferris wheel away. So yeah, that's another hillbilly length of measurement there. Ant hill and Ferris wheel away.
And don't even get me started on Dollar Generals.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
If you've hit the mailbox past the old brown rock, you gone too far.
Yep. When you run into the water, you've gone too far.
For sure.
Oh, Julie came in at the end.
Yeah.
That's it.
But do stick around and listen to the show. We had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, and like and share.
Yay.
So look, I've got
Look
I've
that.
got new buttons. If I can figure out how to use them.
Oh
And
no.
I forgot. Oh, that's all right. Some of my buttons went away.
You found one button. I
I
see.
found
He's
it.
going up and down.
I can
He's
see
getting
how
seasick.
your camera's going up and
Seasick.
down.
Tamp, get away! And I don't know why it keeps going to tracking mode.
You weren't even moving, and it's like up and down and up and down.
Well, I mean, I can do that with the
Oh,
remote, but
Skynet has become self-aware.
Oh no.
my camera is tracking.
Ow.
I'm going to be destroyed. No.
I hope we don't get to see a laser. The
No
new dude.
lasers.
Oh, buddy.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with the nuttiness aside, I think it's time to say goodbye. And we will see you in 2 weeks, and hopefully our episode will be just as much fun as this one.
It's always
will
good.
be.
What are you guys going to talk about next week on Border Town Strange?
Oh.
I was waiting on you to say it.
Oh, okay, I can.
Oh.
So we're doing part 2 of Ghosts on Ghost and Photography. So
Yes.
last week we started in, and Pam, before we even start, was like, "We ain't getting it all in. This is going to be a 2-parter." And she was absolutely right. We started off with the history of spirit photography, and we started moving into like ghost actually caught on in photos and film, and we just scratched the surface of what we got. So if you'll join us, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, we're going to do that second part. We're going to finish that out, and then we're going to start doing personal photos. In fact, we should probably have at least Mark on, and Enzo's more than welcome too. We're going to be hitting some of the border town stuff.
Oh, let me know.
And
Glad to participate.
personal ghost photos and some other ones that friends of ours have taken. We're just going to do a fun deep dive. It's so fun doing the photos.
It is. They're a good time.
Unless they're of me and then your camera broke and you don't have any photos.
We did
That's
run
what's wrong with my camera. I broke it with my face.
We found and I know I ran across it, Jess ran across it too, is a picture of Mark back from the year that we started our group with his white helmet and
With a spelunking ghost hunting helmet.
yeah,
That was high tech
Ghost
back in
hunt.
the day.
it was.
That was a Tony Hawk.
It was a
That was a Tony
spelunk.
Hawk helmet cam, and it worked pretty good until it didn't.
I just remember Chris going, "That's my man, ladies."
Yeah, man.
Well, she liked me. You know, it's great protection from bumps on the head and flirting.
Oh my.
No,
So did you hear about McIntyre Villa?
I didn't know.
It's
Oh,
up for
God.
sale.
Oh,
Really?
really?
So if you have an extra 600,000 laying around,
You left that near the pants.
I'll get my checkbooks downstairs. I'll have to go get them.
get a hold of Steph. Yeah, she's sick. She didn't want to do it, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
get it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, on that sad note,
I know. Debbie Downer, sorry. Oh,
Let's
there
try
it
and get it.
is. Bring it down just a little bit.
yep.
can't get it. My stupid ring camera. Hold on.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, we got it.
And see,
Maybe-
I wore
maybe-
Hawaiian shirts long before I met you. It's not a new
There you
thing.
go.
That's awesome.
I used to wear
We
them.
might have to add that to the next show.
Oh, we
Just a
totally
little-
could. Yeah.
Just a capper, because it's one of my
Maybe
favorite
Mark.
photos. It's back when we were still like really like fresh and new and
That was
excited
like our
about getting
second
started.
meeting or first meeting.
it was
Part of the,
either
the
first
intro
time-
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2012. It was I had hair. It's crazy.
He did. He had hair.
I had hair.
Before
Not a
Like
lot.
everyone
brown
else scared
hair.
off.
I had, yes, we just scared it all off. All right, guys. Well, I wish everybody a good evening, and we will catch you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.